Good morning, everybody. Thursday morning. Haven't been on for a couple of days. Um, Yesterday, for the first time ever, I indulged myself a little, and rather than picking up a book to read, I actually listened to an audio book. I could say I listened to all of it, but I actually fell asleep, so I'm going to have to go back and listen to part of it again. And the audio book was called The Shack by an author called Paul Young. This man writes about religion, the loss of faith, tragedy, the loss of a child, and one man's search, the father of the child, to find peace of mind. This man loses his faith, largely. I'm not going to say too much about the book because you'll probably need to read it, and I don't want to spoil it for you. There was also a film or a movie that came out last year, I believe, which I haven't seen. You can get the information easily available via YouTube. There's a lot of negativity as well as positivity about the movie, therefore obviously about the book and the author, because really the really hardcore devout Christians are saying that it's blasphemous. Other Christians are saying that it will bring people back to God. I can only say that from my listening to the book yesterday, I was riveted. And as I say, it's I think the audio book's just over 8 hours long, and I put it on early evening and I fell asleep. So I will go back and listen to the rest. But I've got a good grasp of it. It's not really at odds with my own views. It isn't. People have asked me whether I'm Christian. And I have to say, yes, I am a Christian. Or at least I try and live in a Christ-like way without being hypocritical. You get Christians or other faiths who think that because they worship on the given day of the week, whether it be a Friday for Muslims or a Sunday for Christians or whoever else, because they worship on any given day, that they are of the Lord, that their sins are automatically forgiven, and that they can go out the following week and commit the self-same sins. To me, that's not quite the way that Christianity works, or anything should work, in fact. My belief is that we're all part of this great oneness. Yes, the self, referring to myself, which sort of puts everybody else into the other category. But really, we're all linked. We can't dissociate ourselves from other people. the way we live our lives today can affect somebody else's life adversely or in a positive way tomorrow. So I would say I was Christian. I would say I try to live my life in a Christ-like way. I would say that I'm not closed-minded. I would say that there's a lot of things that I believe that the church would frown upon. But then there's a lot of things that the church does that I frown upon. For example, I don't eat meat. Should I build a wall between myself and people who do eat animal flesh? Some vegans would say yes. I say no. Should I build a wall between myself and people of other faiths? Some people would say yes. I say no. As I've said in previous videos, different pathways, same place. There's only one God. There's only one creator. Only when we come to the realisation that we are all linked, that this big, vast universe, really, we think about our yesterdays, we think about regrets, we worry about what's going to happen today. More pertinently, we worry about what's going to happen tomorrow and next week, over which we have no real control. Regrets. I wonder what your regrets stem from. Are they regrets because you did or said something to hurt somebody? Can you apologise? Can you do something to take that hurt away? Is it something that you did that at the time you couldn't be expected to know was wrong? Is it something that you fell into without really thinking about the effects it was going to have on other people? Whatever your regrets are, and whatever the reason for those regrets, there isn't really very much you can do about them except learn from them. And maybe ask yourself, why were those experiences so important, even in a negative way? And how can those experiences be now used to your advantage for good? Holding on to regrets and holding on to yesterdays means that we blight today and that we sabotage our futures. And there really isn't much point to it. I'm going to tell you just a little thing, not to make myself look good in any way, and I wasn't going to mention it, but I will. just to make a point. I was talking to a young man the other day, and he's got a young daughter, a partner, and he's just been made redundant. And he had no money. He wanted to get a few bits of shopping and everything. Didn't leave him any money left for cigarettes, which, yeah, don't agree with, don't shout at me, because I've never smoked, or some sweeties for his little girl or anything. We were just chatting, he wasn't asking for anything. So I just slipped him some money, £20, not a lot, but a lot to him, as he's only getting dole money now. Don't want it back. Not something I'll probably do again for him. It's something I've done occasionally, very occasionally in the past, and thought nothing about it. But I got to thinking about these hardcore Christians, and my God, hardcore, hard-hearted, judgmental, wouldn't give you a penny out of their pockets, because they see themselves as myself, my family, my people. Nothing else is anything to do with me. Is their way the right way, or are people like me mugs? I don't think so. I think how I feel is I like to behave toward people as I would want them to behave toward me. It isn't always possible because I'm not a saint, and as many of you know who've got to know me over the last 12 months or so, yeah, I'll call people out when they need calling out, and I don't mince my words. However, I'm a very honest person. So what am I trying to say? I think what I'm trying to say is that there is no substitute for goodness. There is no substitute for living a kind, open-hearted life. There is no substitute for truth and honesty. Really, there's no room in life for regrets, because regrets don't return to regrets, because they won't serve you. Learn from them and then let them go. Apologise where you can and then let it go. And understand that if God can forgive you, if He forgives you, surely you can forgive yourself. Have a wonderful day, everybody. It might be worth your while to have a look on YouTube for that, the book, and also for the video about the shack. I'd certainly be interested to know what people think about it. We've all got our opinions. We'll all have different opinions. I don't see anything blasphemous in it. I didn't hear anything blasphemous. But I did hear a lot of hope as the hours progressed, and it grabbed my attention for all that time. So I'd say it was a pretty good book, The Shack, and I'll be back maybe later on after I've seen Alfie today. Okay, bye bye.